Ants are suddenly 7 feet tall. They've already ate your neighbor. Dan. You have 10 minutes to plan your defense. While they finish eating your neighbor's children. You don't have a gun. What do you do? Draw a white chalk line around my property. Ants don't cross white lines. If you make it a circle, you'll also be protected from sea bears. And if you're wearing your anti-sea rhinoceros underwear, there's a chance you will be ignored by sea rhinoceros. As long as it isn't red, or you will be attacked by bulls. Or drop bears. Those things scary. The ratio goes about 1 million ants for every human. We're quite outnumbered. If they were that big, they would start ravaging our homes and sweep with ease. Death would be guaranteed. Humans would be doomed. I would just quickly end my life to avoid being eaten alive. Wow. Yeah, when you round it up like that, I feel like the sheer volume of ants could probably cover all the land on Earth maybe. I dunno, I'm pretty stoned. Definitely shotgun to the dick though. But you said no guns. I dealt with my ant problem at home with white vinegar. I suppose I could cover myself with it. Best case scenario. Ants leave me alone. Worst case scenario. Ants see what's amazing about salt and vinegar crisps. Win-win. Undefined. Step 2. Wait for it to rain. Just use an oversized magnifying glass obviously. I prefer comically large magnifying glass, thank you. So 7 feet tall. The average ant is roughly 2 inches tall, while being roughly 5 inches long. If we assume that the proportions are accurate, this would mean the ant is a little over 15 feet long. If you combine the size, the powerful exoskeleton, and the fact that ants have the ability to carry more than 5,000x their own body weight, I'd simply die. True. But if you consider the effect that squares vs cubes has on exoskeletons, they'd simply die. Even if their exoskeleton didn't collapse due to weight, they would also suffocate due to lack of air they breathe through diffusion vs lungs, which only work for small animal. I saw that episode of freakishly too. Watch them as they collapse under their own weight and then suffocate due to insufficient oxygen. Technically correct. The best kind of correct. Guards. Bring me the paperwork I need to file to have her taken away. I for one welcome our insect overlords. I'd like to remind them as a trusted TV personality, I can be helpful in rounding up others to toil in their underground sugar caves. I opened this thread for this answer. We all did. Make a trail of sugar leading to my neighbor with the loud annoying car they rev up every night around 2 to 3 a.m. for whatever reason. Hot tip. Dissolve sugar in hot water and use it in a spray bottle. It's invisible and easier to direct it up walls, etc. In fact, it'll likely stick and stain the walls, so it's win-win. I like you. I'd follow the lead of TV's Kent Brockman. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just lost the picture. But what we've seen speaks for itself. The Corvair spacecraft has apparently been taken over, conquered if you will, by a master race of giant space ants. It's difficult to tell from this vantage point whether they will consume the captive Earthmen or merely enslave them. One thing is for certain. There is no stopping them. The ants will soon be here. And I, for one, welcome our new insect overlords. I'd like to remind them as a trusted TV personality, I can be helpful in rounding up others to toil in their underground sugar caves. I don't know bro, probably just let it eat me so Dan and I can be together in the afterlife. Love you, buddy. Love you too, buddy. Shut my doors. I'd like to see them turn a doorknob. You don't have windows? I live in a dungeon. They can dig. Mate. Get yourself an ant farm and learn their ways. A flamethrower that shoots bug spray. They'll never take me. You can already buy bug spray flamethrowers at any local supermarket. I've seen this anime. Pack it up, Hunter x Hunter. Came for this comment. There are an estimated 1:5 million ants per person in the world. If they are all 7 feet tall now, there's nothing anyone can do anyway. There's more ant mass than human mass as it is. If that mass enlarged suddenly, most ecosystems would be destroyed. There is no neighborhood the moment the ants turn 7 feet tall. You see, they would be bigger, not stronger. And because there's no ant in your house, you would be perfectly safe in your house. They wouldn't be able to break in at all. They can't dig as well as they could when they were small. When small, they the advantage of number. They would barely take any space. So there could be millions digging around your house. But if they are that big, not even 10 of them could dig at the same time. It would take about 1,000,000 times the normal amount of time, which is already super long without the size change. So you'd see a sky full of ants, not an earth full of ants. There wouldn't be enough space for them in a neighborhood. And since they would never be able to break a house, they are stuck. In fact, they can't even move since they are all above the other. Imagine being an ant on top of 50 ants surrounded by ants 360° around you. You can't do speep. That's the situation for 99% of ants. Besides, their density would be lighter than air. So they would just float away and go to space, where they would die. Really, the biggest consequence would probably what the disappearance of all ants on Earth due to the ecosystem. And yet, there would probably a few kids who wouldn't have been in their house that would end up killed. Killed mostly because they didn't know they could fight back. 1. Use a garage to set up a trap. 2. Use incapacitated ant for its scent glands and create ant suit from its exoskeleton. 3. Learn their ways and live among the ants. Okay. Pickle Rick. Yeah, I'm not sure there's anything you can do once the entire surface of Earth is covered in enormous ants. Best you could really hope for is some sort of nuclear scorched earth retribution scenario. Even if you kill 1,000 of them before they take you out, there's still enough of them to keep light from getting to where the crops would be. Fortunately, I have my magnifying glass. Bring it on, mother peeper. There is no winning strategy here. There's going to be thousands of them in my town alone. And I don't own 1,000 shotgun shells to kill them. Instead, I pull a 180 and do the old seppuku before they get to me. There's going to be millions of them in my town alone. There are a lot of ants on Earth. It's December in the Rock Mountains. This is not my problem for a few months. I've got time to keep driving north and find a way to the ocean. The ant problem will sort itself out along with a lot of other things. I might die of the after effects and the collapse of society and the environment. But I'll have a frosty booze cruise for a while. Film it and somehow rig it to auto-upload to YouTube. My guess is no one will be left to watch it. Better go with live stream, man. Make a 20 feet tall bird. I would prepare my fellow crusaders. Draw swords and charge in. Run outside. It's currently 27 degrees Fahrenheit where I am. Ants are cold-blooded, and even with that size, which it would be impossible for it to have BTW, it shouldn't be able to stand the cold for long. Grab as many pairs of pants that I have and get those ants in my pants, and then tie them down and pour gallons of pancake syrup and honey on them. Run fast. Dig deep. Never look back. Right. Because ants can't dig. Right? Wow, don't you want to share whatever it is that you're on? Start writing a will. Who'd be left to read it? Will read the will. 7 feet is 254 Tom Cruises. They are just peaceful and want to help humans. Dan just attacked them. I, for one, would welcome our new insect overlords. I don't know. I never really liked Dan in the first place. Always was shouting when he watched his Jets games. And don't get me started on his 2 teenage sons. They duct taped a penis onto a statue once. Hope they can't run 60 miles per hour. Everyone knows you can tame a giant ant with an oatmeal cream pie. From then on they are loyal, and they will give you rides and protect you from giant scorpions. Plant some pea shooters, a couple of cherry bombs, and some tall nuts. I've beeped the ant queen. Obviously. I will then have an army of man ants. Speed up global warming best I can in those 10 minutes. If I can't have the earth, no one can. Good thing I have a chainsaw. I call 911 and have the cops handle that speep. I'm not fighting a goddamn 7-foot ant even with a gun. Well, I don't know how to use a gun anyways, and also suck at socializing. So I'd probably just have a panic attack. I get that barrel of sauce I couldn't find a use for and attach it to a pressure washer. Sriracha. I put that on everything. Hit Ctrl W on the keyboard. Suicide, die with honor rather than get eaten by massive ants. Build a barricade. Then try to escape. Wait out those 10 minutes because those ants wouldn't be able to survive very long at that size. Get ant poison or something. You know those little boxes what has something ants like? They've then go in and die cause it's poisoned. Just buy a 1,000 of those boxes and blockade everything, eat it. Depends on the likelihood of being able to get to the river. Then out to sea. Local canal is probably a 5-minute walk away. While it would take about 20 minutes to get to the river. The ants could probably get from the edge of the canal to whatever vessel I'm using though. So it would have to be the river. It's more likely that I'd probably just take my own life though. Making it anywhere outside my house is unlikely. So I'd figure out some sort of way to make it explode when the ants get in. I'd make sure my cat is not in the house before doing so though. The ants may get her. But I wouldn't want to blow her up. Boil some water and make them have PTSD, because when I was a kid I'd make them fight to the death in the sandbox, and if they didn't, that's when the hot liquid came. So making their skin boil with burn juice is the answer. My legs are my defense. Run for my life. Call the Avengers. They can survive germ warfare, as they have antibodies. Homie, I'm pulling a rod, I'm terrified as speep by ants. Wait for the rain. Ant skin is holy. They can't survive water. Can't remember the exact science. But I read it on Ask Science or Eli 5 or somewhere with a good explanation. This is giving me Zombies Ate My Neighbor's Panic Attack flashbacks. Spy over ant. 4 Slayed many of your ancestors in my day. Get boxes of borax and diatomaceous earth grenades. I feel attacked. Aim for their FP tenor. Like Dad said. Attempt to learn how to use NaN. Learn the way of the ant. I quickly go look for a jar of honey. Some loose fabric. A metal pipe and a knife. The fabric goes under my shoes to hopefully reduce the amount of noise I make. When they come for me, I throw the jar of honey at one of the ants. They might end up eating one of their fellow ants instead of me. If one of them does try to eat me, he'll jam the pipe between his pincers and make a run for it. The knife is for self-defense, to protect me from both the ants and the panicked people running in the streets.